Well, joining me right now to talk about their new book, What Makes a Perfect Princess, is author Sharon Asher and illustrator Shirley Shoub. Sharon from Chamonix, Laval. She's lived there for 61 years. Wow. Taught at John Abbott College. And Shirley also is a former Chamidian who now lives in Côte St. Luc and worked at the MUHC for many years. This is a great book. Show us what it looks like, Sharon. Beautiful cover.
It's a very beautiful cover. Shirley illustrated it beautifully. This is the back cover. Would you like to see some of the inside?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Let's give readers a little bit of a sneak peek before they go out and buy their copy on Amazon.
Okay, this is the title page, What Makes a Perfect Princess by Sharon Asher, illustrated by Shirley Shoub. And then we have special acknowledgements and we start the story. Shall I read a little bit?
Why don't you read just a little bit, just give me a little tease to the viewers, not too much, but go ahead.
Once there was a princess. She was pretty and very smart. She needed more self-confidence because she thought she did not know how to be the way everyone else seemed to want her to be. One day, she went to visit a friend. Her friend said, "Princess, I think you need to be taller and thinner and wear more makeup. Your hair needs to be shorter and blonde. You need to buy a long dress and a short coat. You need 3 pieces of jewelry and a big book to carry with you wherever you go. Then you will be perfect."
That is, that sounds so familiar in terms of when I hear you say that, working at a school board, a parent myself, with a grown-up daughter now, this is the peer pressure that kids are under all the time, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And in this story, she tries what 3 specific friends tell her, and they tell her completely different things. And of course, it doesn't work because they're giving her their perspective of what is perfect.
So it's very relatable. This book, what is the recommended age group of the readers, would you say?
Okay, if you have an adult reading to a child, you could have an adult read to a 3-year-old, a bright 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Once the child can read the book, any child in elementary level could read and enjoy this book because the message is profound and applies to every single human being on the planet.
Yes, so could I add?
Go ahead, Shirley. Yeah.
I read it to my 11-year-old grandson, and of course he's able to read, but he just wanted to cuddle in with Bubby. And I read the book to him and he thoroughly enjoyed it. And I said, "What's the message in the story?" You have to have confidence, Bubby. That's what the message is.
And you know what I think the great thing about this book is, it's going to, and that's why it'll be good to be read in schools. It facilitates or spawns conversation, because then a teacher could bring up a subject and young kids like to talk a lot. They like to talk and they like to share stories. So it almost is a pedagogical tool as well. And I guess as a former teacher, you appreciate that, Sharon.
Yes. And it comes naturally.
So you couldn't.
In 1 hour it comes naturally.
Well, that's the whole thing. You wrote this book many years ago in 1 hour, but Shirley stepped in. The two of you met about 10 years ago, and you found out Shirley was an illustrator, and Shirley spent a lot of time doing all the beautiful illustration for this book. But you took a lot of time, Shirley, and you got some tips from George Deli George in Côte St. Luc art classes, didn't you?
Yes. And thanks to George that I got this done. And it was it took a lot of time because I went deeply into the words, and I didn't draw it in the order of the story. I drew it as the concepts came to me, and then I put it together to go with the order of the story.
So the
Because-
book is available on Amazon right now, but I know there's a copy at the Coatesy Public Library, and there'll be copies. Sharon, you intend on providing other libraries with copies and hopefully getting it into the schools. And this is not a dated book. It might be read in the fall. It might be read in the spring of 2023. Hopefully it'll be read in the spring of 2033. And both of you will have left a wonderful legacy with this book. I'm only wondering, Sharon and Shirley, will there be a sequel?
There is another book, not a sequel, because this is a unit by itself.
Right.
The message is very important for any reader. And I think children will understand it, and older people will understand it on another level because they've gone through all the stages of childhood and adolescence and young adulthood. So this is really universal. I have another book which is about the environment, but it doesn't have an illustrator yet. Maybe one day I'll illustrate it.
Well, and Shirley, has this given you a desire to illustrate another book one day?
Following this, I've been writing and illustrating a series, Skipper Stories, and the first one of Skipper Stories is in publication now. It'll probably be out this fall. And I'm currently illustrating the third book in the series that I wrote.
So I must ask you, Sharon, I didn't ask you before, but is this your first book?
Let's say it's my first, how can I put this?
That's published.
No, it's not my first book. I have other books. I have books. I have a book of poetry for adults, but it's very special. It's unique because the poems help people heal at very deep levels emotionally. And I also have another book of prose for adults. Neither of these, I just printed copies and gave them away. Maybe 100 copies that I've given away, but I haven't officially published them. I also have a number, the story I told you about the environment is called The Story of Crystal Lake. And it's about how people, it's about a filmmaker, you will, a prince, who's a filmmaker. And he films a polluted lake, and people see the film and they're inspired to clean up the lake. And he makes a second film. But then he grows old and he can't make any more films, but he has this dream of a crystal lake, something that's so pure that people and animals and the environment are healed just from the pure water. So this is a very profound and important story, especially now. But maybe I will illustrate it myself one day. I don't know, but not right away. I also have a number of other stories that I've written for children.
So
Also
after 30 years of teaching at CEGEP and well into retirement, you're keeping very busy doing these wonderful things. So I want to wish you both best of luck and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's focus on this one for right now.
Absolutely. We'll do a follow-up when the next publication needs to be promoted. Absolutely. A beautiful book. Congratulations.
Thank you.